Ladies and gentlemen, we are not all created equal. I can tell you that right now. And my case in point is the Delphi case, and a sharp contrast between the Delphi case and the Idaho murders of Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. Now, what I'm talking about is the parents of each victims on both cases want completely different things done, and it's such a sharp contrast. It just blows my mind. Like, on the one hand, you've got the Delphi case where they don't want anything released. The parents, grandparents, and all, they're like, no, we don't want the public to know anything. We don't want them to know the murder weapon. We don't want them to know the cause and manner of death. Any other reports. We wanted a almost total redaction from the probable cause affidavit, and all that, and they're like, years go by and everyone's still friendly with the police. Nobody's complaining or anything. Like, oh, you guys are doing great, do your job. And then we come over here to Moscow, Idaho, with the horrible, horrible, brutal killings of 3 girls and 1 guy in the sorority house there. And like, not even a month into it, the parents, I'm not going to say any name, but the parents of some of the victims have scolded the police and chastised them, and they're like, why aren't you guys doing anything? This case is growing cold. Not even a month, okay? And one of the dads out there, that stocky, muscular guy, I'm not going to say any names. If you follow the case, you'll know who they are. He's just totally downing the police, practically calling them idiots, and they're doing their best in the investigation, and he wants everything released to the public. So this case, they haven't even got a suspect, right? And look at the difference between the Idaho case and the Delphi case as far as what I'm talking about. Look at the information that's gotten out already. They haven't found a weapon, but they know what type of weapon was used. They actually revealed some of the grotesque facts to the populace, to everybody. Like, the girls were sliced and diced. They weren't merely stabbed, they were sliced. One of them had her liver cut open, and other internal organs just severed from the body, like a Jack the Ripper type killing. And this is all out. Can you imagine if they did that with Libby and Abby and gave out the cause and manner of death? Why do these agencies behave so differently? I mean, in 180 degrees from each other. How is this possible? Why is there no standard way of going about these kind of situations, these stabbings and stuff? How come they don't have to keep things close to the vest, and they're not worried about tainting the crime scene, or giving the killer too much information, or giving out information that only the killer would know? I mean, it's just wild. But these guys, these people over in Idaho, are just, I don't know, the investigation is just so different than what's been going on with the Delphi case. I'm not, I can't really grasp at it. I'm trying to go both ways. And anybody wonder about that? And getting back to Delphi, dealing with the facts of the case, the reward money's not even talked about hardly at all now. One of the family members, and you know who she is, very vocal in the investigation, started a petition and got several thousand online signatures to keep the documents of the Delphi case sealed. So, on one hand, you got someone in one part of the country wanting to keep everything quiet, and the other part of the country, it's like Florida. They're transparent. They're going to tell you everything they had. They had a decent news conference, and but it's mind-blowing. But as of this video I'm making here on the 16th of December, nobody's been charged or caught for the murders in Idaho. Your own Private Idaho. Didn't the B-52s do a song about Idaho? Where the potatoes grow? So we know more about the Idaho murders, except we don't have a suspect, but we know more about what happened to those girls on the first week of the investigation than what we've had up to date now 5.5 years later, almost 6 years now, on the Delphi case. We still don't know anything. We don't know the cause or manner of death. And now all this new shit's coming out, man. What is with the Daily Mail? Um, I'm sure you've all heard about the allegations being made that the girls were catfished, that they went down there and their original plan was supposed to be kidnapping them to do whatever, the child porn ring, or who knows what they were going to do, and that supposedly went sour, and they had to kill the girls instead, whoever they is. So I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, ladies and gentlemen. But the accusations is such a parallel to the Idaho stuff, because I just don't know. I'm beside myself. I still have this weird feeling since they've arrested Richard Allen. That I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I can't channel the guy. I don't understand what's going on. And Ron Logan, who they looked at in the very beginning. Now you got to remember, they searched everything of Ron Logan's right after this happened, like a couple days after the Delphi murders, and the girls were found dead on Ron Logan's property, and they searched the house, they searched his vehicles, his truck, and all that, and they said no, he's not a suspect. They let him go. Well, is he innocent of coordinating with Richard or whoever else was involved? If that's what happened, are we to believe the Daily Mail? What are their sources? But that idea of using them for sex trafficking, that's not new. That was put out on the table years ago, and it was just kind of left there and needed some dusting off. There's supposedly some stuff getting leaked out there now that Libby and Abby were not sexually molested, or no, excuse me, the girls in Idaho, Private Idaho, were not sexually molested. I can't speak for the Delphi girls. They probably were, but what I'm trying to say is there's all kinds of innuendos and false shit coming out about the Idaho murders. And it's going to turn into a circus there too. The longer they go without arresting a suspect, it's just going to be speculation, and it's so many things with that are kind of similar occurrences in the Delphi case. Now, let's talk about a lie detector test for Bridge Guy, Polygraphed, okay? According to my sources, and I'm not going to give them out, and you can take this with a grain of salt, Richard Allen was polygraphed twice, and both times it came back inconclusive. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe he was just so nervous that the test just wouldn't validate itself. Well, something went wrong and the tests weren't valid. So, and the results, whatever the results are, it's never been acknowledged. No results have been given out because there is a gag order. I think it's fun when you gag. So as far as and that would make sense, nobody's talked about that. Well, he was polygraphed. He was interrogated, ladies and gentlemen. He went in the interrogation room like you've all seen on the true crime videos and all, and that's not released either. That's part of the gag order. The Honorable C. Gull might take care of the problem here in another few weeks, and she might believe in transparency in the Constitution, and she might just open up all the records for all of us to see and speculate on and continue our sleuthing. So, getting back to transparency and non-transparency, I am for the side of transparency. And I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what y'all say. Oh, you're just morbid. You want to know the morbid details. Yeah, I do. Okay, and so do a lot of people like me. So, okay, you don't have to worry about that and all the haters and stuff. And on one side in Delphi, you got all these people. Don't release anything. Nothing at all. No transparency. Not one little speck of evidence. Almost 6 years later, we have faith in law enforcement. And did they get the right guy this time? Richard Allen, the right guy? That's what a court will decide. We can only speculate. Maybe he appears to be the right guy, but that's not enough. So you got that in Delphi, and like I said before, and all the way across the map over there in Private Idaho, they're like, release everything. They've just about released everything, ladies and gentlemen. All the blood. They showed blood dripping down the side of the building. It won't be long before the autopsy photos go online, like JonBenet Ramsey's. And their parents, those girls and that guy, their parents are out there. They want it out. You know what? What is the difference between the cases? Why does one group of people want to do one thing and the other group does a complete 180 and wants to handle it another way? Who's right? Are both of them right? What kind of what do investigators think amongst themselves? Do they argue in the boardrooms, or in the interrogation rooms? Well, we should release this and not release it. I'd like to hear the interrogation of Richard Allen, and we will soon. But like I said, what do you think about one agency and a location handling something a certain way? And I'm kerbobbled. I lost my space. So does these releases of these things hamper investigations? There's no proof of that. What if it would have helped the investigation? I heard someone say that if they had given out all the information about Delphi that they had within the first 48 hours, ladies and gentlemen, the case would have been solved. It would have been solved rather quickly by them sitting on the information and bowing to pressure. The law enforcement of Delphi bowing to the public pressure. They just gave in and didn't do their operation properly. They didn't do their job. I think these people in Idaho are doing better, the investigators, but the father of one of the girls doesn't think so, and he's just openly mocking them, practically calling them incompetent and stupid. After 1 month, he's doing that. Now, I understand how he feels about the loss of his daughter, but I think he's being kind of stupid. These are people out there losing sleep to try to find out who murdered his daughter, and he's going to chastise them on the international stage. It's crazy. I think we got another vortex in the making, ladies and gentlemen. The Delphi vortex, which we're all accustomed to, and the Private Idaho vortex, with the murder of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. Oh, they'll catch who did it. They'll probably make an arrest sooner than Delphi did. So, like I like to say, strap yourselves in, for it's a wild ride, and pay attention to the Private Idaho murders as well as the Delphi murders. On another note, I wonder if the trial date will be pushed back. Seems like it's going to have to be. Bridge Guy's lawyers are saying they're out of money, they need money, they're court-appointed lawyers, they need more money because they have to call in expert witnesses to defend Ricky. Oh, Ricky, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Ricky, you douchebag. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, money for the defense. Yeah, they're going to need some professional ballistic experts in there. And those people don't just volunteer their time. They want to get paid for they went to school, they have years of experience. If they're got to call on their experience, they got to get paid, right? Yes, definitely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've got second thoughts about something I always believed with the Delphi case. I'm backtracking now on my beliefs, and I might change some of my beliefs on the Delphi case, on Bridge Guy, Richard Allen, alleged Bridge Guy, Richard Allen. Don't want to call him Bridge Guy because I don't know if he is Bridge Guy or not. Don't want to ruin his life more than he's probably already ruined it, right? So, I've always told my listeners, my viewers, that I thought for sure Bridge Guy was an organized killer. I was sure of it because he was so cool up on the bridge. Guys, down the hill. God, I hope I didn't sound too close to that. Someone will come over here and give me a voice test. So, Bridge Guy was an organized killer. And I'm like, yeah, because everything just went so smooth. He didn't get caught right away. And at the time, it seemed like it. His mannerisms, the way he was cruising on the Monon High Bridge on the ties, the railroad ties. Um, didn't even have to really look down too much what he's doing. And I'm like, this guy, the difference between an organized and an unorganized killer. But ladies and gentlemen, the more I think about it, he might have been a disorganized killer that was lucky. Because if there was a bullet, if there was a round at the scene the crime scene between the two girls, and they matched it up to his gun, how did they get a search warrant? How did they even know that he had the Sig Sauer? How did they know? That's the part that's got me. Did someone narc him out? Did Keegan Kline narc him out? This is where it gets a little hairy. So I'm saying to myself now, organized or disorganized killer? What do you all think? Or is he both? Maybe he could be organized and disorganized sometimes. But if he had a jacket at his house and he buried his cat in his yard and they had to dig up the cat to get cat hairs to match the crime scene, ladies and gentlemen, there might be a lot of circumstantial evidence in this case. There's no direct evidence that we know of, which means nobody witnessed the actual killings or stabbings or partial beheadings or rape or branches inserted or any of that stuff. But did he act alone? Do y'all think Richard acted alone? Was Ron Logan maybe involved, even though he was cleared? Who else? Who else would be involved? And these people look normal, ladies and gentlemen. These pedophiles and these people that belong to these sex rings, like Jeffrey Epstein and the likings. Well, they're rich and powerful people. They do it too, right? They get horny just like we do. But it'll all come out. It'll come out, and they'll have to release it eventually. Which Doug Carter even said, a couple of times. He's like, it will all come out when it's time, and that'll just start a flurry. It'll be viral. It'll almost break the internet when it does. It's going to continue to be a wild ride. But what was the main purpose that was aborted? Was it to kidnap them, kidnap the girls, take them over and store them at Ron's house? Did Ron live with his wife or any relatives, or did he live alone there at his residence? Well, they can say what they want about him now and try to pin it on a dead guy, as the trial progressed. No, it was all Ron Logan that did it. And a lot of people believe it was Ron Logan. But he was tested for DNA and everything else. And so that's another thing, the DNA. I'm not even going to go there. That'll make the video like another hour long. But I thought I'd throw these things by you guys, dealing with Idaho and Private Idaho and the Delphi case in Delphi, Indiana, not too far away from Chicago. Chicago. This whole thing is driving me sane. It's just at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree or something, but this is just the beginning. How do I cope? I whip out my Abbey Road album. Hello, Peekoo. It's John Paul, George, and Ringo walking across Abbey Road with a little Volkswagen that has a license plate that says 29 if, or something like that. And not only the jacket, this is for you baby boomers. A baby boomer break. The 33 RPM album in perfect condition. Apple. It's an apple core. Green apple on the other side. No, it's not Apple Computer. This Apple was around before the Apple Computer. No confusing. Separate company. Apple label was a label the Beatles created themselves. And I should know, because I am Stu Sutclif. So I should know everything Beatles, right? I'm not the Stu Sutclif. I'm just the other Stu Sutclif. We don't spell our names. We don't spell our names it's the same. So just excuse me while I freak out and go crazy from too much information with these cases. I can't watch any other true crime. There's too much of it going on. There are too many of these nutcases out here amongst us. and maybe with the arrest of alleged Richard Allen, we'll get some of them off the street. But I don't know if it's him, ladies and gentlemen. Who are the other people involved? This is going to get interesting. It's going to be big, 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 big when it all starts coming to light. That's the Delphi case and the Private Idaho murders of those poor kids. It's horrible. Who would do such a thing? Some drug or sex crazed maniac. There's so many of them walking amongst us, and no one in our country, in the United States, will do anything about it. They just throw them in jail and make it worse. Well, that's it for now, people. I'm going to sign off, and today's date, this is everything I've talked about is very fluid. Today's date is 12/16 of 22, and news gets obsolete real quick with these cases. So what I'm saying now could all turn around in a couple days. It's fluid. It's just nothing stays the same, and some of it's just a bunch of crappy bullshit out there. And I try to bring you all facts for what I know and repeating some of what I've heard. But I'm saying I don't know everything. Just take it with a grain of salt. It's just speculation on my part. Whatever I have to say, some of it I'm borrowing from other websites, and that's it. But I will say there's a lot of good coverage going on, and a lot of really professional YouTubers that have invested a lot of time and a lot of good equipment, and they're really digging deep into it. They're very serious about it, and I want to tip my hat to them. Even some of the ones that I know real well that have been on the case since the very beginning, and some of the YouTubers that we have lost during the Delphi vortex. We've lost some very close YouTubers that have passed on, and if they're watching down at the videos we're making now, they'll be very pleased and proud. And the main thing, my main concern, is the families not dying off before the killers are caught, because that really sucks. You want the parents to be alive so they know who did it, who did this to their children, and but that's not always the case. All right, I'm done rambling Rose, and I'm going to sign off right now, and thank you all for watching this video. My email address is realstusuclif@gmail.com, REALSTUCLIF at, I want to say Juno, but it's Gmail. Juno sounds better, but it's just Gmail. I promise you it's Gmail. Okay, I'm signing off for now, and until next time, bye-bye.